Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. While Hopkins County deputies were working a scene Thursday, a vehicle drove away. A short time later, the vehicle was spotted and stopped. It was found that Jody Brewer, age 43, of Sulphur Springs, had a warrant issued by the FBI in Dallas. She also had methamphetamine in her purse. Brewer is in Hopkins County Jail, charged with possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, over 1 gram but less than 4 grams. And she's also being held for Dallas FBI on a conspire possession with intent to distribute charge. Hopkins County Sheriff's investigators, with the assistance of Officer Alejandra Costenda, a certified peace officer who works as a jailer, recovered 10 chainsaws in Dallas on Thursday. The recovery of the stolen items from Ag Power and other power saw dealers in Northeast Texas area has been an ongoing work for the local sheriff's office. The officers stated that Costanza was instrumental in the recovery. Sergeant Corley Weatherford with Hopkins County Sheriff's Office said translation was imperative. Information given the local department led them to the locations in Haltom City and Balch Springs, Texas. The investigation is ongoing. Fleas at the Sulphur Springs Public Library. Hope Kane, librarian, says, "Please don't be alarmed. All is well at the Sulphur Springs Public Library." She said, "We live in East Texas. East Texas is dear to our hearts," but she says East Texas is full of bugs. The library is under a pest control management on a quarterly basis, but she said sometimes bugs get past us. Because of the quick span of a flea's life and the unique life cycle stages, the library has decided to take evasive action. Some fleas were seen on a sticky bug trap recently, and in order to halt the fleas in their hatching eggs, the special bug spray is in order. Saturday, September 17th, the library will be closed a little early at 12:30 to allow pest control to visit. Kane says all is well at the Sulphur Springs Public Library. Sulphur Springs Mayor Emily Glass read a proclamation naming Friday, September 16th, 2016 as Dale Francis Day in Sulphur Springs. She read the proclamation during the MIA POW Day remembrance conducted by the Hopkins County Military Coalition at the Veterans Memorial on Celebration Plaza.
Good morning. It is my great honor to issue this proclamation on behalf of the City of Sulphur Springs in Hopkins County, Texas. Whereas Dale Francis grew up in Colorado but lives in the great state of Texas in the city of Sulphur Springs, and whereas he was in the United States Navy at the height of the Vietnam War and was on the USS Frank E. Evans when it sank on June 3rd, 1969 in 1,100 fathoms of water off the coast of South Vietnam, and whereas the USS Frank E. Evans, carrying a crew of 273, was the only U.S. warship to leave for the Vietnam War and not return. And whereas during this tragedy, 74 men lost their lives, making this the second largest single loss of life for the United States Navy during the Vietnam War. And whereas Dale Francis, along with his surviving shipmates and their families, are working hard to get the names of these men who lost their lives when the ship sank placed on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. And whereas Dale Francis decided to ride a bicycle all the way to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. to bring attention to the fact that these courageous men's names are not on the memorial. And whereas while on his journey he met with several issues such as flat tires and inclement weather, but nothing kept him from his mission. He rode his bicycle for 1,564 miles while raising awareness, meeting lots of new people, collecting donations, and even meeting the most kissed pig, Daisy. And whereas Dale Francis completed his trip in 74 days as he had planned and garnered a great deal of attention, the door is now open and talks are underway to place the names of those 74 men on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Now, therefore, I, Emily Glass, Mayor of the City of Sulphur Springs, Texas, on behalf of the Sulphur Springs City Council, do hereby proclaim the 16th of September 2016 as Dale Francis Day and urge all citizens to join in recognizing and honoring Dale Francis for his fight to gain recognition for his deceased shipmates. Signed and sealed this 16th day of September 2016.
Real quick, did you get a photo of you two together? Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Destin Sensky. On behalf of Senator Bob Hall, we have a certificate for you, Dale, and also we've flown a flag in your honor above the state capitol of Texas. I'll go ahead and read that certificate. In the name and by the authority of the Senate of the State of Texas, extending most sincere congratulations, I proudly present this certificate to Dale Francis for your dedication to the United States Armed Forces. In the testimony whereof I hereunto sign my name and cause the seal of the Senate to be affixed at Austin, Texas, in the Senate chamber on the 16th day of September 2016. Signed, Senator Bob Hall. For our flag, we would like to present to you the Senate of the State of Texas. This certifies that the Texas flag herewith presented to Dale Francis by Texas State Senator Bob Hall was flown above the state capitol of the sovereign state of Texas on September 1st, 2016, in witness whereof and pursuant to the authority vested in me, I have hereunto set my hand and official seal of office at Austin, Texas, this first day of September 2016. Present the flag. Oh, no. I'll just hold it. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
As Commander of the Hopkins County Military Coalition, it's my honor and privilege to present this certificate of appreciation to you. At our meeting last night, we voted, and as you'll notice, the members present signed on the outside instead of the inside under the certificate. And we just want you to know, we appreciate so much what you've done, not only for your shipmates, for the veterans of all the military services in the U.S. God bless you, and thank you again, Dale, for everything you've done. Thank you.
By the Hopkins County Detachment of the Marine Corps League, we have a certificate of appreciation for loyalty and patriotism to our country's veterans, exemplified by your deeds and actions. Presented to Mr. Dale Francis, awarded this 16th day of September in the year of our Lord 2016. R.W. Goodman, commanding.
Thank you.
Company is cut about this. Forward, march.
Dell Francis of Sulphur Springs and his friend and fellow shipmate Richard Cook of Australia took time to show and tell about their Vietnam War experience of 1969, and both men still with a quest to draw attention to the 74 lost shipmates who were aboard the USS Frank Evans.
This is a depiction of the actual accident that happened. It was a painting commissioned by an Australian sailor, and he shares it with us, fortunately.
Okay.
The large ship here is the HMAS Melbourne, and this smaller ship is the USS Frank E. Evans. I was aboard the Frank E. Evans. The Melbourne hit us at 3 o'clock in the morning. It cut the ship in two, right between the stacks. The front half rolled over and sank within 3 minutes. I was on the front half. The back half swung around the carrier. An Australian carrier jumped down onto it and lashed it up with mooring ropes and kept the back half afloat.
An Australian seaman?
An Australian sailor, yes. If it hadn't been for the Australians, the loss of life would have far exceeded 74 men. As it was, the 74 that were lost off the front half.
I see. Richard Cook, tell us what you were doing during this time.
Well, just before the collision, I was up in what's called the forecastle, up here in the front end of the, it was a hot night, I was off duty, and you get a nice breeze through these holes there, so I was just cooling off. And then I went back to my sleeping quarters, which is on the other side of the ship, down here, about that area, but inside. And just after that, we heard the loudspeakers on Melbourne saying, hands to collision stations, hands to collision stations. I was an 18-year-old sailor. It was my first ship, and I didn't even know what that meant.
So you had not had even a training routine on this?
Not about collision stations. There was something that we hadn't learnt. And somebody told me it just meant hang on.
Oh. So there were many of you inexperienced sailors aboard?
There was a few of us on Melbourne.
And so it was huge. I mean, it looks huge. Yeah. So there were a lot of people on there.
Yeah. I'm not sure how many sailors all up.
What did you do then?
Well, when we hit, the ships, the Melbourne sort of went up and back down again, like going over a hump in the road. And I came out from my sleeping quarters out to this area here, but on the other side, and I could see the front end of Evans lying on the side about 45 degrees in the moonlight. See the big numbers on the side, 754, and I really didn't know what to do, and so out of instinct I just grabbed some life belts out of a locker. They're like belts you put around your waist, and I jumped over the side and started swimming out towards the Evans because I could see people in the water, but it happened so fast that I only got like halfway towards the Evans and it tipped up and went down with everybody trapped inside it still, apart from some few who got off, like Dell, he got off the front end. It wasn't. And you felt this pull going down? I didn't get that close. I wasn't quite close enough to get to feel the suction. Okay. So we can't dwell on this a long time because our time is going to be too short, but I'm hoping, Dell, that when you are downtown that you'll be able to tell everything that you would like to. And so thankfully another Australian was able to sort of secure the back half of that ship.
Yes.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. Why would you even think about it? Well, you've got a half a ship that's next to yours that's sinking, and you jump onto it to lash it up with mooring ropes. It was just unbelievable.
What did he tie to?
The carrier obviously has hoists and winches and stuff on it, but he jumped onto this helo deck down here and lashed it up onto the the superstructure of the destroyer.
My. Such an amazing story.
The back half stayed afloat, and they pumped it out and sealed it, and actually towed the back half into Subic Bay and stripped it of everything that was valuable, and then took it out and used it for target practice.
Oh, I see. There's so much more to be told, but I want to say, if you would like to put that down, I know it's getting heavy, and there's another picture there that we're going to show.
This is a picture of the Frank E. Evans that was painted by Mr. Richard Cook.
Wow, Mr. Cook, you are very talented.
And this has been in my possession in my living room for a couple of years now. So,
Richard Cook, tell us about this painting.
I needed to I painted this more for my own therapy. I always thinking about the collisions in my mind every day, and painting this helped me along. I've done a couple more since that, but this belongs to Dell now.
So you painted this for Dell, or gave it to him as a gift?
Yes, gave it to him as a gift.
Others? You've done others?
Yeah, I did another one which was auctioned off at one of the reunions. And I've painted a picture of one of the lost sailors, and his mother now has that. She's from New York State.
Okay. Tell me, Dell, the date of this occurrence.
This happened June 3rd, 1969.
Okay. So you then went forward in your life, and in very recent days this summer, you made the trip to Washington, D.C. by bicycle.
Yes, I did.
To bring attention and raise awareness for these sailors that are unsung.
Yes, I turned 74 in May. So to honor these 74 sailors, I took off from Sulphur Springs and rode to Washington, D.C. It took me 74 days. I arrived August 15th in Washington, D.C. These men are not on the Vietnam Memorial Wall because the Defense Department considers this to have been outside of the official combat zone at the time of the accident. The combat zone was an artificial line which changed from time to time, but it was designed for tax purposes. If you were inside the combat zone, your wages weren't taxed. Okay. But we received credit for Vietnam service on the day of the accident. The tug that came out from Subic Bay and towed the back half into Subic received the Vietnam Service Medal for that day. All the ships in the and we had just left the gun line in Vietnam, firing gunfire support for ground troops, for which we received a Navy unit commendation.
Okay.
So there's no question that that's what we were there for, but they're using it as an excuse.
Your goal is to get these sailors' names on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall, and you're not alone in this quest.
Oh, no.
And that's good and you brought something that shows, you brought a lot of things, and we have very little time. We have like about 3 more minutes. So select some things here and tell us significances of them.
When I arrived in Washington, D.C., we were met by Congressman Adam Schiff from California, and he presented us with the flag that flew over the Capitol building on the day I arrived.
Okay. That's lovely. And this goes certainly holds a lot of memories and special in your collection. What else do you have? Oh, you have some
These are probably
socks.
the most famous socks in the country right now. Every time I wore them on the ride, they got the biggest comments.
Okay.
So I'm going to take them to the ship's reunion, and we're going to auction them off.
All right.
We have an auction every year, and it goes for the Memorial Fund. If the names are placed on the wall, it will go towards the wall. If they're not placed on the wall, they go to the ship's Memorial Fund, and the ship places memorials in every state where we lost sailors.
Okay.
We placed one in Texas a couple of years ago. Important items. This book was written a couple of years ago by Louisa Sola. She just spent 4 years researching that, and it goes into great detail on how the lengths that they went to keep us not in Vietnam. They did not want us to be part of the, quote, body count.
It's called American Boys, The True Story of the Lost 74 of the Vietnam War. And it's a good-sized paperback book here. Show us another.
This was written by a retired Navy captain, and it's more of a technical book on how the accident occurred and what happened.
Okay. The Fall and Rise of the Last Crew of the USS Frank E. Evans, Unsinkable Sailors by Paul Sherbo. And what else do you have?
This is $1 Million Experience. It was written by a crewman on the Kearsarge, which was the American carrier that was in support of this exercise that we were on.
Okay.
And he mentions the accident, of course.
The $1 Million Experience.
This is written by the ship's historian, Frank Jablonski.
Okay. Lost 74 lives and a $37 million destroyer.
This is written by the ship's postal clerk at the time, and I think it was more for therapy. But
okay.
And then the last one is a book by a young lady. She's, I believe she's 19 now. She's in college in Iowa, and she does a play about the mother of the 3 Sage brothers that died.
Oh, I see.
And she calls it There Should Be No Boundaries for Heroes. And these 74 men died serving their country.
This book just before that, In the Presence of Heroes, is its title. And I want to thank both of you for your service. I wish we had time. I want to talk to Frank Cook some more. Just tell us anything here before you have to go.
I'm just proud to be here and for Dell's, for this, to do something, recognise his ride. I was following it from Australia on social media all the way through, and I'm just so glad to be here for this.
Thank you for coming in. And thank you too, Dell, for coming in.
Thank you.
Parents of scientifically inclined young people should make plans to attend a school presentation to be held at Parrish Junior College on September 29th. The School of Health Professions at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center is conducting the program. Speaking will be Dr. Brandy Greenhill, Associate Professor and Program Director for Clinical Laboratory Science. Through an articulation agreement, students who successfully complete PJC's Laboratory Science program have guaranteed entry into the School of Health Professionals, the very small and competitive scientific program at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center. PJC offers several affordable higher education classes that will save tens of thousands of dollars as students prepare for this particular program. In order to sign up for the program, you may RSVP to Dr. Jack Brown at jbrown@parisjc.edu, or you may call him at 903-782-0319. Since 1947, KSST has earned the respect of Sulphur Springs and Hopkins County for consistent coverage in local news, weather, and sports. That tradition, along with good music, has made KSST the most listened to radio station in Hopkins County. According to Arbitron ratings, KSST continues to hold the #1 listener favorite position in the county. During a recent Texas Association of Broadcasters convention in Austin, representatives of TAPSCAN presented the numbers to KSST. The survey used took into consideration listeners' choices in Hopkins County during the hours of 6 a.m. until midnight, 7 days per week. Those surveyed include those in ages 12 years and older. The representative of Arbitron told KSST officials that numbers for KSST were amazingly high. KSST rated first, followed by a contemporary Christian radio station located in the Metroplex. The third place radio station was a local station that is a member of a group of 10 stations in East Texas. 2 country and western stations in Dallas were next, a talk radio station in Dallas followed, and a country station locally rounded out the top 7. A Winsboro Southern Gospel station was 8th, and 3 stations from the Metroplex tied for 10th. Here's Don Julian with sports.
The Saltillo boys cross-country team competed at a Miller Grove meet on Friday, and the Lions finished second to the host Miller Grove, but ahead of Bland in the three-team competition. Results for the varsity Lions included an 8th place finish for Dakota Patridge, who had a time of 17:11. Trevor Moore finished 9th. Walker McGill was 13th. Branson McGill was 19th, and Lyle Bench finished 28th. The Lions will compete again on September 24th at a cross-country meet at North Lamar.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. Have a great evening.